we will try to address two issues in the today's class. One is going to be the structure of the radiation pattern. In the last class, we have seen various radiation patterns of an antenna, right? So now let's look into the structure of a radiation pattern of an antenna. Now we already discussed about the radiation pattern of an antenna is something like a expansion of a balloon when you fill air into the balloon. So therefore, it is also going to be like that when you really look into this in a three-dimensional plane. Now you can imagine this particular radiation pattern is going to exist in the spherical coordinate system. Always the radiating antenna and transmitting antenna are assumed to exist in the spherical coordinate system. So when I say that it is simply going to exist in the spherical coordinate system, what is that you are going to have now? You are normally going to have various angles. Say for example, if you take up a infinitesimal point on the sphere. Now imagine that there is a sphere actually. Sphere means what? We are normally going to consider three axes like this, and we are going to consider a sphere like this, right? So this is going to be a sphere for us. I may call this as something like x quadrant, y quadrant, say something like z quadrant. This is a sphere. Now if this is taken as 0, and the radiation is normally going to be like this, okay? So that means the angle made with respect to this z axis is going to be theta, and angle made with respect to x axis, that means here on this plane we normally going to drop a erect a line here. So this is going to form a angle phi from the spherical coordinate system, okay? So now we will be having three parameters here to locate a point on this particular space. Say for example, I just wanted to know the radiation, effect of radiation at this point P. Now this point P is a combination of r, theta and phi in the spherical coordinate system, okay? So in the spherical coordinate system, antenna is located. Now that means we are assuming a spherical coordinate system for an antenna radiation. So the antenna is placed over here. Say this is the placement of an antenna, and antenna is radiating the signal. Let us suppose antenna is radiating in this particular direction. Now if antenna is radiating in this direction, I may assume some differential surface area. Now from this surface area, the electromagnetic waves are simply going to get radiated, right, under consideration. Like this, the electromagnetic waves are getting radiated in all the surface areas wherever the signal is directed. Wherever the signal is directed, right, in all the locations, the power is simply getting radiated. See, why we have to assume that the differential surface area here? See here, we understood in the previous from the previous sessions that when the EM wave is transmitting in the free space, there is no practical source. Practically there is no external force applied to the waves to transfer, which means what? Since the wave is transferring in the electromagnetic in the free space, or under the which is spread across the electromagnetic spectrum, when the wave is propagating in the free space under electromagnetic spectrum, we assume that there exists a power as well as energy of the signal. If there is no energy and if there is no power in the signal cannot be transmitted to a longer distance. So we assume that the antenna is normally going to radiate a signal with certain power, and the signal is getting transmitted to the destination with some power and energy, because antenna is always going to radiate an EM wave into the free space. Very important concept. So now we are assuming a spherical coordinate system. Spherical means what? I can just simply think of like this. So I may assume this as x quadrant, say this as y quadrant, this as say z quadrant. Now this is a spherical coordinate system. In this coordinate system, the radiation is normally going to get assumed. Okay. Now we will be having three parameters in the spherical coordinate system: the radial component, theta and phi. What is actually theta? Theta is the angle made with respect to y, to the point of discussion. Say for example, if this is the point under discussion we are talking about, now this angle, this small angle, whatever we write it here, it is called now theta or d theta, right? Similarly, angle made with respect to this is nothing but equal to phi. So to get this angle, say for example, I am looking for the point here, so I will be radiating here and this point, then I just drop this. Now this angle, this small angle is going to be d phi. So as it is based on the consideration, what is that you are exactly considering, accordingly we will be having the point. But more or less, wherever you consider a point on the spherical coordinate system where the radiation is happening, there we normally going to get 3 coordinates. One is going to be r, theta and phi. In the case of the isotropic antenna, this theta and phi will be constant, will be equal to 0. Why? Because the antenna is going to radiate in all the directions, where theta is going to vary between 0 to pi, whereas phi is going to vary between 0 to 2 pi. These are the variations which we require to calculate the power radiation with respect to theta and phi. So therefore we should know this particular range of theta and phi. Now these concepts we are simply using it from the EMTL, our second year basics, we are using it here from the EMTL concepts. So now here the point of discussion is not EMTL, the point of discussion is only with respect to the antenna. So whatever that is minimum required for us to use from the electromagnetic field theory, we will be using it here. Okay, as far as the coordinate system is concerned, I am using little bit concepts here to just understand what is that we are actually doing in the antennas and wave propagation. Okay, now this is the radiation pattern of an antenna. Now in the exam you may ask us, okay, explain about the structure of the radiation pattern, right, or explain about the spectrum of the radiation pattern. So the question may be structure of the radiation pattern or spectrum of the radiation pattern. Now how do we explain this now? That means when you really unfold this is something like a folded format. See, when something is totally closed now, imagine it is a closed cylinder now, this is something like closed. When you unfold this, when you cut here and unfold it, you will be getting an unfolded spectrum here or a structure here of the pattern of the radiation pattern. So this is the unfolded radiation pattern of the spectrum. This is the folded version of the radiation pattern of the spectrum. So here this radiation is basically 3-dimensional. That means when you put an antenna like this, now the radiation is normally going to be there around this antenna like a balloon. Inside this sphere, inside this radiation pattern, you are going to have a antenna here, right? Similarly here, this entire lobe, this whatever that you have got here, it is spread like a 3-dimensional. Imagine it is a 3-dimensional radiation pattern, then only we normally going to have this. Now whenever we normally going to draw or represent any structure or a spectrum, we normally going to have negative side as well as positive side of the spectrum. Now here we consider negative as well as positive side of the spectrum. Now here we understood in the previous class that wherever you are going to have the maximum directivity of the radiation pattern, that particular thing is known as the major lobe, which is known as the major lobe. Now wherever you have a highest strength is going to be called as a major lobe. The types of patterns are known as lobes. So here this is known as the major lobe and all rest of them are going to be the minor lobes. That means all these are going to be called as the minor lobes. And some people will call them as the side lobes also. So we can always call them as a side lobes also. Side lobes or minor lobes. Minor or side lobes, whatever you can really call, the meaning is going to be same for us, right? So I call them as minor lobes, and wherever I got a maximum radiation, I call that particular pattern going to be the major lobes. Now when you draw the spectrum, you get a maximum value. From maximum value, if you come down by 3 dB, it is just like in the frequency response. Whenever we normally going to draw a frequency response, we have to find out the F1 and F2. What is the frequency response basic curve we have drawn in the previous sessions? Say for example, this is frequency, this is gain in dB, right? The frequency response when you draw, you have drawn like this in the case of the amplifiers, right? If this is the maximum, gain, you are going to come down by 3 dB. You are going to come down by 3 dB here. So once you come down by 3 dB, you get a 2 points here. This point is called F1, lower cutoff frequency, and F2 called as upper cutoff frequency. So finally we will write the equation for bandwidth is equal to F2 minus F1. That means to get a bandwidth, we normally locate the 3 dB points on the response characteristics. So once we get a 3 dB point, then we find out F1 and F2. Similarly here also, now 3 dB means what? You will be coming down from the maximum by 3 dB. So from maximum, if you come down by 3 dB, you normally going to get a 3 dB point, which is known as half power point. So that bandwidth is known as a half power bandwidth, right? The next one is going to be the first null. The first null. Now here we normally going to consider them as the beams. So therefore, instead of bandwidth, we call here as a beam width. So therefore, I can call this as first null beam width, half power beam width. Now what is first null beam width? Now see, there is a gap here. Imagine, see that this is a gap here. Now there will be a small gap over here. Okay, there will be a small gap over here. So this, where there is no signal, there is no radiation. When there is no radiation at a particular point, it is known as a null point. So now here you are going to experience a first null here. So therefore, this particular distance or this particular angular displacement is known as the first null beam width displacement. So here from this particular spectrum, we will be getting first null beam width, half power beam width. We can locate major lobes, minor lobes and null points. So these are the null points. This is first null, this is a null point, and this is also a null point. Okay, this is also a null point, like this. We will be getting so many null points at the end of the pattern, So like this, we normally going to draw the structure of the radiation pattern and locate the important parameters on the structure. Now there are two important parameters, first null beam width and half power beam width. So already we have located this in this. So if you draw a line touching with this particular lobe, so this is nothing but equal to the half power beam width we have located. And first null means what? Come to the least one here, that means what? The first minor lobe. Draw a line touching to this, and this particular distance, arc distance, is going to be equal to the first null beam width. So like this, we have located from the radiation pattern of an antenna all these things. Now let us look into the next concept, that is going to be called as there are two other important points now: radiation power of an isotropic antenna and then radiation intensity. Radiation intensity. Now what do you mean by an isotropic antenna? Isotropic antenna is an hypothetical antenna which is normally going to radiate the power or electromagnetic waves in all the directions, that is known as the isotropic antenna. Now how do I normally going to get the power radiated from an isotropic antenna? The power radiated from an isotropic antenna is represented by using a Poynting vector or a Poynting theorem. So what this Poynting vector is going to speak about? Now we will be talking in terms of only vector representation now, so I can call this as a Poynting vector. So using Poynting vector, what I can write this power is equal to? Power is nothing but equal to, generally we have from electrical sense, what is power is equal to voltage into current. Now here also, here in the case of EM waves, the power is nothing but equal to the electric field into the magnetic field. So here the cross multiplication of electric and the curl operation of electric and magnetic field is normally going to give us the EM wave, and that power associated with that wave is known as the actual power that is normally associated with that particular electric and magnetic field vectors. So now the differential power or differential power radiated by a transmitting antenna is nothing but is equal to the closed surface integral. When you find out the closed surface integral, that means here this equation is the radial one. Radial means what? What is the meaning of radial thing that we are talking about? So this is radial one, that means only in one direction, only one vector. When you consider only one vector coming out of it, then we normally write it as E cross H. Now if you consider a differential surface area, now in this particular lobe, say if you consider a differential surface area somewhere here, this is called ds, for example. Okay. Now when you consider differential surface area ds, then you have to find out the differential power radiated. So the differential power radiated is equal to, is nothing but equal to, you have to consider the entire surface area ds. So the closed surface area you have to integrate to find out the entire area of that particular thing. So that I can write as equal to now here we are going to consider the radial power. Always the power the power density lines we are going to consider that they are emerging out of the antenna radially. The power lines are emerging out radially outside of the differential surface area under consideration. So if we consider differential surface area in the free space where the energy is getting radiated radially outward. So radially outward means what? Radially outward means what? Among the three coordinates, one thing is radially outward. So therefore we normally going to use only three integrations to find out this particular surface area. So the surface area of the energy coming out, of the power coming out, is nothing but is equal to the radiated power, differential radiated power from this particular differential surface area, right? So now the differential surface power, the differential power radiated is equal to radial power. What is WR stands for? WR I can call it as a radiated power from an antenna, okay, or radial, the power which is being radiated radially, okay. So that's what called radial power, radial power radiation, okay. So I can call this as radial power. Now double integration of ds. Now this is nothing but actually the sphere. What is this actually? It is a sphere. Why? Because we are considering this point in a sphere. Our antenna is located in the sphere because we are considering a spherical coordinate system. So you have to imagine that this differential surface area is going to be the sphere only, is going to be the sphere surface area with the radius r. Whatever the radius it is going to have, that radius will be there r. So with this particular radius r, we are going to consider that as a differential surface area, okay. So for example, if we consider this as a three-dimensional surface, see it has got three dimensions. If you observe this carefully, right, it has got this is, say if you consider this as one axis, x axis, this is y axis, and this is going to be z axis. Now when you complete all these edges, we normally going to get a solid picture. This is called a solid. Solid is basically three-dimensional, right? So like this we are going to have a sphere now. So that means sphere is going to be once again three-dimensional. So sphere is basically something like a ball kind of a structure. So inside that ball kind of a structure or a spherical coordinate system, we are going to have our transmitting antenna, okay. And we have to find out the radiated power by that particular transmitting antenna which is located in the spherical coordinate system. That is what our concern. Now in that, the surface area of a sphere I have to consider here. When you double integrate this surface, what is that you get? You normally going to get the area of the sphere. This is nothing but area of the sphere. We normally going to get area of the sphere. It is nothing but area of the sphere. What is area of the sphere formula? It is 4 pi r square. 4 pi r square is the area of the sphere general formula. So we normally represent it like this. So therefore I can write this WR is equal to P radiated by 2 pi r square. So this WR can be written as W radial power is equal to power radiated by 4 pi r square. Differential power radiated by 4 pi r square. Differential power means we will be considering only, if you are sticking yourself to only differential power, I simply call this as power radiated by 4 pi r square. Okay, so this is the equation we get from the radiated power of an isotropic antenna. So this is the radiated power equation from a isotropic antenna. So where this is nothing but the radial power which is coming out of this surface. Now imagine if this is the surface. Imagine if this is a surface where this n is the unit vector which is normal to this particular surface. That means the flux lines will be always flowing normal to the surface. If you imagine that it is a surface now, normal to this surface, the electric flux lines will be flowing. That is what our consideration is. So like this, if from this line many flux lines from this particular differential surface, many flux lines are emerging out. So that is what we are considering it here. So therefore this particular power I can call it as a radial power which is emerging out of this particular surface is nothing but equal to differential radiated power by an antenna Now see, what is the source of power coming out of this differential surface area? It is the power radiated by the antenna. So therefore the differential power radiated by the antenna by 4 pi r square is nothing but is equal to the power coming out of the differential surface area. So this is what the equation of the power radiated by a isotropic antenna. Okay, so this P radiated can be called as a total power radiated or P radiated or differential power radiated. Based on our concern, we call it as a differential power, okay, or radiated power, right? So here I am calling it as a radiated power for our concern. Now next important derivation is going to be the radiation intensity. The radiation intensity can be defined as the ratio of the power radiated by a transmitting antenna to the unit solid angle. Now we will discuss just after this what is unit solid angle, what is radian, what is steradian, what is unit solid angle, all that we will discuss now. Until that time, please just look into this derivation, because this is a derivation. These two are the derivations which you have to compulsorily derive in the exam if at all is asked. So therefore I am deriving it for you. Now U is equal to P radiation by, it is nothing but unit solid angle. It is a ratio of power radiated by a transmitting antenna by unit solid angle, is known as the radiation intensity parameter of a antenna. Now from the isotropic radiation, we have already got a radial power from a differential surface area. W rad is equal to P radiation by 4 pi r square. Now what is this 4 pi r square? It is nothing but the differential surface area, total differential surface area of the sphere. So I can just simply represent it by a ds component. Instead of writing 4 pi r square, I will be writing it as differential surface area of a sphere or surface area of a sphere. Now what I will do is, now I will name this equation as 1, the U is equal to U equation as 1, and next equation from isotropic antenna I can call it as 2, equation number 2. That means the same equation I have written here. So this I can write as equal to P rad by ds. So this equation I can call it as 2. Now let us divide equation 1 by 2 to get a relationship for the radiation intensity. We have to get the formula for radiation intensity here. That is important. So I will divide 1 by 2. So therefore 1 by 2 is nothing but U by W power, radial power, radiation intensity per radial power is equal to, I will divide these two now, P rad by d omega whole by P rad by ds. So finally I will be getting here, what is that I will be getting over here? ds by d omega I will get. Okay. What is omega symbol? This is omega. This is also omega. Right. So one is for capital case, another one is small omega. Now it is based on the applications, we normally going to represent either one of these two. So I can call this, actually this is a symbol of ohms. So but when you use this in the electromagnetic fields, we call it as a omega. So ds by d omega I can have. Now we know, now this is what important, we know d omega, which is known as unit solid angle, is equal to ds by r square. We will derive this when we discuss about a steradian. Okay. Now until that time you should know that d omega is equal to ds by r square. This is an important derivation, that small thing which we have to understand. Okay, so ds by d omega. Now from this above equation, what I can write now? I can write this as ds by d omega is equal to r square I can have. So I can name this as equation number 4. Now what is this equation number 3? It is ds by d omega is equal to u by w radiated power. Now I can just equate these two now, equation 3 and 4. When I equate these two, I will get now radiation intensity by radiated power is equal to simply r square. So therefore u is equal to r square into w radiated. So that therefore we will be getting a relationship for the radiation intensity as radiation intensity is equal to square of the radial distance with the square of the radial distance with the power radiated by a transmitting antenna through a differential surface. So that is what the basic equation for the radiation intensity. So in that equation, what is nothing but R? R is nothing but the distance between the antenna and the surface, differential surface under consideration. Okay. Now we will try to go with the definition for this particular d omega, right? D omega is known as one solid angle. So we have two concepts here. One is going to be radian, next one is going to be steradian. Radian and steradian. What is radian? Radian is basically a measure of the plane angle. See here, if you consider a plane like a circle here, circle is basically a plane structure. So if you consider a circle with the center of the circle as 0, then imagine that you are going to consider a plane now. This is one plane, y plane, this is going to be x plane. Now if you find out the angle between these two planes with the vertex as the center of the circle, and which is going to subtend a arc of length r, then we normally going to get a value for radian. So therefore radian is basically a measure of the plane angle. So how can we really define a radian now? How can we define a radian now? One radian is defined as 1 radian. This is nothing but 1 radian. 1 radian is defined as the plane angle. Why it is called a plane? Because you can form a plane now. See, I have just formed a plane by this plane is imaginary plane on the free space. So I have formed a plane now. That means it is 1 radian, or radian is defined as the plane angle. The radian is defined as the plane angle with vertex as the center of the origin, that is subtended to an arc of length L, is known as a radian. So 1 radian is nothing but equal to, now you know the circumference of circle is equal to 2 pi r. So 1 radian becomes equal to, it is going to erect a arc of length r. So we divide the circumference of the circle by this arc length to get this particular radian. So 1 radian is equal to 2 pi. So 1 radian is equal to 2 pi is the result we are going to get from the radians, right? Now similarly we normally going to have a steradian, which is the measure of the solid angle. Now this is nothing but a plane angle. It is going to be a solid angle now. Now how do we find out a solid angle now? We know the area of a sphere. Now here we are going to consider a sphere. Now here we have considered this as a circle. In the case of radian. Now here we are going to consider this as a sphere in the case of the steradian. So steradian is a measure of solid angle. Now we have to find out the steradian value. So steradian, how can we compute the steradian value? See here, steradian is also defined as a solid angle. It's something like, we can define something like how we define for radian. Radian 1 radian is defined as a plane angle. Similarly here also 1 steradian is defined as a solid angle that is subtended to a square of length r, to a square of equal length r, is known as a basically steradian. Now we calculate about, hence what is the circumference of a sphere? It is going to be 4 pi r square by what is the net area of this particular square, subtended square, as a result of this particular angle that you have made. That means here, if this is the center of the sphere and this is the differential area you are considering on the plane of the surface, then you are normally going to find out the flux lines coming out of this generally. So therefore you have to consider this particular small sphere, and when you find out the area of this sphere, it becomes equal to the area of the square whose length, whose side length is normally equal to r. So therefore what is the area of this square now with side length is equal to r? It is going to be r square. So therefore, the one steradian becomes equal to now what now? For a sphere, it is going to be 4 pi r square by r square, because it is going to be for r square, I get 4 pi steradians. So it means a sphere is going to have 4 pi steradians. Every sphere is going to have 4 pi steradians, and every circle is going to have 2 pi radians. Now I want to get a solid angle. Solid angle means what? Among this sphere, that means in this sphere we are going to consider some differential surface area ds, right? For this surface area ds, I wanted to find out the solid angle. That means here it is going to be a three-dimensional. See, imagine it is a cone now. A cone got formed now. A cone structure got formed now. I want to find out the entire angle of that particular cone. So therefore, that solid angle I can find out by simply finding out the differential area by r square. What is differential area? If you find out differential area for the spherical coordinate system, we normally going to get r square sin theta d theta d phi, because r is taken as fixed component, because the magnetic flux lines or electromagnetic flux lines will be radiating along the r direction. So therefore, r is taken as fixed. So that is why here in this differential component we get theta and phi. So it is simply rotating with respect to theta as well as phi. So therefore, we will be considering theta and phi. So therefore, differential area becomes equal to r square sin theta d theta and d phi. That is the basic equation which we have from the EMTL subject. So we have just simply used that differential area of a sphere, if you take r as going to be constant at a particular place. Now at a particular place here I find out the differential area. So that is nothing but equal to r square sin theta d theta d phi. Now with respect to the differential surface area, what is the solid angle? Solid angle nothing but is equal to the total surface area by the occupied surface area, because of this, which is nothing but equal to r square. So therefore I will be getting d omega becomes equal to sin theta d phi, which is nothing but steradian. So steradian can be written as equal to the sin theta d theta d phi. Okay, so these are the basic concepts, or these are the basic derivations which we normally require for solving the problems. Okay, so in this session what we are discussing now, we are discussed about four important points here. The first point is going to be the structure of the radiation pattern. After we discussed about structure of radiation pattern, we discussed about structure of radiation pattern, then we discussed about the isotropic antennas, power radiation by an isotropic antenna. Then we discussed about radian and steradian, and then we discussed about radiation intensity. So radiation intensity is defined with respect to the unit solid angle. So unit solid angle is the angle made between the 2 points of the spherical surface. Between 2 points of the spherical surface. See here, this is one point of spherical surface, this is another point of spherical surface. Between these 2 points, we normally going to find out this particular angle of steradian. This is called angle of steradian. So we are finding out this angle of steradian, right? So that is what, using that angle of steradian, we normally derive the equation for the intensity of radiation or radiation intensity. So in the today's with this we stop this session for today, and for tomorrow's class what we do is we normally going to discuss about some of the characteristics such as efficiency, directivity and power flux density. Okay, thank you very much.